Nothing to hide, and I'm gonna break it straight down the pipe for you, face to face.
Being tough gets you hurt. This is a sharp game, a skill game, a chess game, and I think people see that.
Having lost that fight, walking out of the ring, what were your memories? What did you think?
Boxing's a lot tougher than I expected.
You don't know my ability though.
That's true.
You don't.
I don't know where you might go. I just give you where I think you're at, which I'm entitled to, which is average. Average is very complimentary.
The Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua face-to-face interview delivers one of the most heated atmospheres yet. Jake Paul, the YouTuber who transformed into a rising boxer, stares down former heavyweight king Anthony Joshua with pure confidence and unshakable belief. Joshua stays cold and composed, studying Paul like a veteran hunting for weaknesses. And for the first time, Paul openly admitted that Joshua's size, experience, and championship pedigree make this the biggest challenge of his career. Still, he insisted he's ready to prove he belongs on the world stage.
Relentless style, this forward pressure, taking lots of damage and not giving a fuck and returning that damage more than what his opponents are giving him. And
with the December 19th fight now fully sanctioned and locked in, the anticipation has exploded. Jake Paul made it clear this is not another social media boxing event. This is a real war against a former unified heavyweight champion. He knows stepping in with Joshua is a massive gamble, but he said greatness only comes to those willing to take risks. Joshua, meanwhile, stayed calm and respectful, acknowledging Paul's business success but reminding everyone that experience is a brutal teacher. When the bell rings, the respect disappears. One man shocks the world, where the other proves why he's an elite heavyweight.
Or Joshua reaffirms his dominance.
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen. He called me up, and it's looking very likely for next year.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua. I know I will beat. Knocked out, right? Yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. But I want to fight you.
Former UFC champion Michael Bisping called this fight a win-win for Jake Paul. Even if Paul loses, he earns global respect for stepping up to fight a former heavyweight superstar. It proves he's not just dabbling, he's taking real risks. And if he somehow wins, Paul launches himself into a level of legitimacy most fighters never reach. But for Anthony Joshua, Bisping says it could be a lose-lose if he wins. Critics will say he took an easy cash fight against a YouTuber. If he loses, his legacy takes a massive blow. Suddenly, the pressure looks heavier on Joshua, not Paul.
Say it's a win-win for Jake Paul is because, listen, if he wins, then he's beating a former heavyweight boxing world champion, certainly one of the best heavyweights of his generation, and of course, a man that is way bigger than Jake Paul. Of course, it's a win. And if he loses, it's still a win for Jake Paul because he had the balls. He was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy sh**. Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him.
This matchup feels less like a legacy fight and more like a high-stakes business play for Joshua. One major storyline here is the massive size difference. Jake Paul weighed around 100 pounds for the Tyson fight. Joshua is usually 252 to 255 pounds on fight night and naturally huge. Physically dominant heavyweight. Just the physics alone make this matchup unlike anything we've seen in modern boxing.
Think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work? Like, how do you even... Never mind. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's not official and I don't think it's happening. So let's just not even broach that subject. But let's talk about the Anthony Joshua fight. And I want to hear the clip again because I just can't believe what I'm hearing. Let's play it again.
I know my boundaries. I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will fucking beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends, all this shit, but I want to fight you.
So Jake says he wants to fight Anthony Joshua. He says he's going to beat Anthony Joshua's ass, that he doesn't have a chin, that he has no skill, and that he's stiff. And then you hear Derek again with the porn creeper stash chime in. Didn't he just get knocked out? Yeah, by Daniel Dubois, who is a reigning heavyweight champion of the world. Not that that means anything at all, I don't guess. Yeah, Jake's just flat out wrong here with a lot of his critiques of Anthony Joshua in comparison to himself. Like, if you want to say for the elite heavyweights in the world that Anthony Joshua has a little bit less skill and is more stiff than they are, then okay, but Anthony Joshua is still an elite heavyweight in the world. And then to go as far as to say, I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass, that he doesn't have a chin, no skill, he's stiff. Like, again, Jake can have this opinion. And he says that, that we're friends and I love you, but I want to fight you. And Jake may even believe that, but he's just wrong. Like, Anthony Joshua took heavy shots against Daniel Dubois before he was knocked out, and really the reason he was knocked out.
Anthony Joshua has fought the biggest names in the sport: world champions, knockout specialists, Olympic-level warriors. Joe Rogan pointed out that Jake Paul simply doesn't have that kind of battle mileage. Joshua has survived wars under bright lights. Paul is still building experience. That difference alone makes this challenge enormous.
Coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Going into that fight, it seems like he believed that he was just going to dominate him. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Everybody was like, look, to Joshua, I think you're done.
Right after he knocks out Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, you're back.
Yeah.
Flattened Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh.
Dana White has never been fully sold on Jake Paul's boxing career. He said he stopped taking Paul seriously the moment Paul lost to a real boxer. Dana has repeatedly dismissed Paul's previous opponents as made-for PPV spectacles, not legitimate professional test. And when Paul's team threatened legal action over accusations of fixed fights, Dana shrugged it off, saying Paul's fights didn't feel serious enough to bother with.
It's reportedly being worked on for December 19th in Miami.
Did I see the fight being worked on December 19th in Miami?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know which fight I'm talking about?
No.
Fair enough.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what. A lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one.
Tommy Fury outright laughed at the idea of Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua. He reminded everyone that he beat Paul while suffering from a serious hand injury, and believes that alone proves Paul isn't ready for elite competition. Fury said Joshua has nothing to gain, and hinted that the only way the fight lasts is if Joshua is getting paid to carry Paul.
Possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there. Protected. And he just done a great job over the aging Chavez Jr., who was a middleweight, but still.
Sure.
Yeah. I like how Jake Paul calls out the full spectrum from featherweight to heavyweight. Do you know what I mean? Who did he call out? Tank Williams and Joshua. That's just crazy. That's what he called Richter scale.
Anthony Joshua exclusive, because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
got
beat.
knocked out, right?
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this. I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo.
Stop the tape now. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. The thing I respect about Jake Paul is his strategic selection of opponent. The retired NBA player, the mixed martial artist who does not specialize in striking, and a almost approaching 60-year-old Mike Tyson. But Anthony Joshua's skills are 1,000 light years ahead of Jake Paul's. Anthony Joshua, Mr. 28 wins, 25 knockouts, 4 losses. Anthony Joshua has been in the ring with real fighters. His resume speaks for itself. I just have one thing to say. Jake Paul, you can't play boxing. Trust me. Just stay in.
Jake Paul credit for this. At least he's in the ring with a boxer. But 57 years old is 57 years old. And 57 years old and formally walking into a UFC fight as an audience member, as a patron with a cane, it's hard to me believe a year later that you're going to be in any condition to really, really fight. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. And if you're Jake Paul, here's what I want to say to you. It's Mike Tyson, that's fine. It's a money fight, I get you, and you want to make money. But at some point in time, if you keep telling us that you're taking boxing seriously and you want to be recognized as a big-time boxer / fighter, you're going to have to fight somebody closer to your age, who is a contender at the very least in the sport and who lives with it every single day. Could you please get in the ring with somebody?
In his eyes, Jake Paul fighting Joshua is pure fantasy . And that wraps things up for today's video. This matchup has the boxing world divided. Some see progress, others see a warning. Whichever side you're on, the debate is far from finished. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.